Kishiryu Sentai Ryusoulger is one of my favorite seasons of Super Sentai, while Kaito Sentai Lupinranger vs Keisatsu Sentai Patoranger is one of my least favorite seasons. So what happens when they join forces? We get an incredible versus film. Hello everyone, it's thomasjujube, and after a few years, I finally got around to watching the Ryusoulger vs Lupinranger vs Patoranger movie, and I really enjoyed it. So today I'm gonna talk all about the movie and give you all of my thoughts on it. Before I begin though, make sure you let me know what you thought of the movie down in the comment section, and also don't forget I've made a bunch of Ryusoulger and Lupat videos if you'd like to hear my thoughts on the shows individually, in addition to just a bunch of other Sentai videos recently. Also coming up, I'm going to be reviewing a few more of these versus movies that I've missed out on, so make sure you're subscribed to this channel or you join my Patreon so that you don't miss any of it. Immediately, I just want to say this movie is so much fun. I like that it gets right into the team-up elements by having Kreon and a Gangler just meet each other and immediately fight our heroes. Actually, I absolutely love the villain of this movie. To be honest, I don't really remember his name that much. It's more of the concept that makes him really interesting to me. I mean, personality-wise, he's just a generic Gangler trying to become the new boss. That's like what all the Ganglers were. But because this is set after the show, the concept is automatically more interesting because it's like he's trying to restart the organization, I guess. And then tying him in as one of Goshe's discarded experiments gives him this edge, like he was too powerful for the main Ganglers to consider using, and now he's been freed and let loose to do whatever he wants. But the integration with Ryusoulger is what made him so much cooler. It's pretty fun how he teams up with Kreon to create a Minosaur that doesn't drain his emotions. It's just like one of his foot soldiers now. But even better is the idea to have Ganima harnessing the power of the Kishiryu through the Gangler safes. It perfectly melds concepts from the two Sentai into one entity so that the movie really feels like a combination of the two seasons, as even with the villains, it's like literally a combination of the two seasons. As long as you don't think too hard about how a Gangler is able to harness the power of living creatures that aren't Lupin collection pieces, and Tiramigo's power is somehow upgrading him so that he's more powerful than Lupat's lack of a toy line. Wait, no, that makes sense because Ryusoulger toy line is awesome. But this also gave the film a real nuanced element about having to kill the Kishiryu. It's obvious that we aren't going to sacrifice Tiramigo and company, but it's still really heartbreaking to see the Ryusoulgers debate amongst themselves whether or not they'll sacrifice their friends in order to save the world from one monster. It's a level of emotion I really wasn't expecting out of the movie. I just wanted to see the two spandex teams meet and talk and fight, and instead we got a really compelling story. The movie is still filled to the brim with crossover elements in regards to the heroes, of course, and that's my favorite part of the movie, or they're all my favorite parts of the movie. Despite all the characters at play, the movie uses a bunch of different subplots so that they each get something fun and exciting to do. It's structured really nicely because it starts off with all the characters split up in different groups, and then as the movie progresses, the groups meet and interact, and then we get new groups or other groups dissolving, and then by the end of the movie, we finally get everyone coming together for the final fight. So just by watching the movie, you're seeing the team up change and evolve until it culminates in the full trio of Sentai. It's super satisfying. Admittedly, it is kind of lucky that Kanelo's catch of the day just happened to be Tsukasa, and the cafe she wanted to go to just happened to be where Toma is, and it's lucky that Kairi ended up finding Ko and Umika met Oto, but who cares? Almost every single scene of the movie is filled with super fun and enjoyable character interactions, and it's awesome. I thought Noel was super funny in this because they just ramp up his backflipping thing. He's just backflipping like every time he's talking to people. It honestly made me laugh every time. Actually, that goes for both Six Rangers. Kanelo is just doing his usual gag, but by making his latest Simpi, Patranger, it elevates the comedy to a totally new level. He makes his entrance by just randomly having the exact rare keychain that Tsukasa needed. Where did he get it? How did he know Tsukasa needed it? Why was he here at the exact same time she was? I actually like that it worked, like he was actually gonna go on a date with Tsukasa, but then they got ruined when monster attacks and stuff. You know, I hate when my dates get ruined by monster attacks. One of my favorite parts of the movie is when Kanelo tells Toma that he and Tsukasa are destined to be married, and Toma can tell it's bullshit, but he's just like, congratulations, in the most monotone voice ever. It caught me off guard, and I really laughed at that. I also really liked him later when he tells Otto he's just a traveling chef, and then Umika copies him and says she's a traveling vocational student. It's like, what? That doesn't... Man, the interactions in the movie are just so good. Otto even gets to beat up Grion at some point. Ko and Kairi's dynamic is one of my favorites because they're just so different from each other. Their introduction is fun since Kairi does a bit of trolling with Ko, but eventually they develop a really mature storyline. I liked how Kairi imparted a really interesting lesson to Ko about being selfish sometimes and doing something that you really want to do, even if it's not what's right. What was originally just a fun and innocent opening to the film with Ko trying to give Tiramigo a bath like he's a big dog, which he technically is, Kairi turns it into a deep emotional core part of the film, and it just makes everything feel super thoughtful. And vice versa, Ko's dedication to his friend inspires Kairi to reconcile things with his own friend, boyfriend, and make the movie an interesting component to the Lupat lore as we deal with some unexpected fallout from the actual season finale. However, I do think it's super weird that Ko and Keiichiro don't interact. Like, Keiichiro's a Red Ranger too, and yet he doesn't have, I think, a single line of dialogue with the Red Ranger of the team he's crossing over with. As strange as I think it is, it's also kind of neat that his main storyline is with Banba instead, because in Ryusoulger, Banba and Towa were always sort of portrayed as a separate faction since they never live in the Tatsui house, much like how the Patorangers are an entirely separate team from the Lupinrangers. So it was kind of a cool concept to take like the separate team of Ryusoulger with the separate team of the Patorangers, but then in the final battle we get this great shot of all the Reds, and then like I wonder if these two even know each other's name. Because of this, I kind of want to say that the movie, like the show, focuses more on the Lupins rather than the Patos, but I'm really torn on that. The Lupinrangers are very important to the plot because of the saves and they're dial fighters, so they're targeted by the bad guys, and the Ryusoulgers turn into the Lupinrangers, but no one turns into the Patorangers, and Noel's only transformation into Patron X is to get his ass beat. But some of that's also just the fault of the original show, like because the original show emphasized these Lupinranger parts, the movie kind of has to as well, but I feel like the Patorangers had a stronger presence character-wise, as Toma and Umika don't appear on screen for quite a while and then don't really do much, and all of the Lupinrangers don't transform until the final battle, while we see the main Patorangers a few times before that. However, I do want to say that we're told a few things about the GSPO in this that makes it clear they're incredibly stupid. Banba and Towa are arrested for holding swords in public, which is fair, but after learning they are Ryusoulgers trying to save the world, Keiichiro says that the leaders of the GSPO don't want to help and still want to arrest them. What? They're good guys. It puts the original season into a new context for me, because I always thought it was dumb the Patrangers were trying to arrest the Lupinrangers for stealing from the bad guys, and this movie shows that it's because the GSPO is just managed by complete buffoons. That's cool, I guess. But what's even cooler is the final battle, the perfect cherry on top for this movie. Obviously, team transformations are so cool, and I absolutely love how original sequences were created for all three teams to give them some special versus movie flair. Then I love how the three different catchphrases of the teams are combined into one sentence. That's really neat. The actual battle itself is super enjoyable because it's filled with all these adorable interactions between the two teams in multiple ways. It's an absolute blast to see all the weapon swaps, like the Lupinrangers and Patrangers wielding Ryusoulkens is a lot of fun, and seeing Ryusoulgers using Patoranger and Lupinranger weapons and armor is even more fun, and the banter between the teams during these moments is a lot of fun as well, like Asuna talking about how the crane arm fits her because she's super strong, or Banba having to lighten the super armor for his brother. It's unfortunate that we couldn't have anyone wearing Kyoryusoul armor because those Kishiryu were all trapped, but at least we got some time with the super sexy Max Ryusoul Red. And that final finisher is super hot. Man, I needed to turn on all the fans in my house after playing that scene, but it also might be because it's summer. If I had to make one request for this finale though, it would have been that we got a mecha battle, not just because I love the Ryusoulger mechas, but because they're the plot of the movie. So after they're rescued, you can have the Minosaur grow large, and then we have to get a mecha team-up fight to finish everything off. It would have been really satisfying to have the Kishiryu defeat their captor with the help of the vehicles that freed them, especially since the movie isn't that long. But the ending itself is still really great because we get even more new character moments that we didn't get earlier, which are just as enjoyable as the ones before it. I kind of wish the movie was longer just because I love seeing the way these two casts interacted. If it wasn't abundantly clear by this point, I had a great time watching this movie. Not only did I think it was really cleverly put together from a filmmaking perspective, it gave me all that I could have wanted from a Sentai crossover, which is just plain fun interactions and battles. It's nice to have one last something from Lupat that I can actually remember fondly, but I'm not quite done with Ryusoulger as I've got another Versus movie from them to take a look at. If you want to see that early, be sure to check out my Patreon page for more information, or consider subscribing to the channel for more Super Sentai content, and I hope to see you next time.